The shattered wine glass at my feet seemed to mock me, its crimson contents seeping into the pristine white carpet like a growing stain on my perfect life. I stood frozen, staring at Owen's phone clutched in my trembling hand, the incriminating text messages glaring back at me. "Emily, honey, what's wrong?" Owen's voice floated from the kitchen, concern lacing his words. The sound of his footsteps approaching snapped me out of my daze. I looked up, meeting his eyes as he entered our living room. "Who's Samantha?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Owen's face paled, his eyes darting between me and his phone. She's just a coworker," he stammered, taking a step towards me. "A coworker you're sleeping with? You're sleeping with?" I spat, anger rising in my chest. "Don't lie to me, Owen. I've seen the messages." He ran a hand through his hair, a nervous habit I once found endearing. Now it only fueled my rage. "Emily, I can explain." "Explain what?" I cut him off, my voice rising. "Explain how you've been cheating on me, how you've been lying to my face for God knows how long." Owen reached out, trying to take his phone back, but I jerked away. "It's not what you think," he pleaded. "Samantha and I, it's complicated." I laughed bitterly. "Complicated? That's rich. What's so complicated about keeping your vows, Owen?" A knock at the door interrupted our confrontation. Owen's eyes widened in panic. "That's probably my mother," he said, glancing at his watch. "She mentioned stopping by today." "Perfect timing," I muttered, marching towards the door. I flung it open, revealing Mary's surprised face. "Emily, dear, I hope I'm not interrupting anything," she chirped, her eyes taking in my disheveled appearance and tear-stained cheeks. "Not at all, Mary," I replied, my voice dripping with sarcasm. "You're just in time for the show." Mary stepped inside, her brow furrowed in confusion. "What's going on? Owen, honey, is everything all right?" Owen appeared behind me, his face a mask of guilt and fear. "Mom, now's not a good time." "Your son's been cheating on me," I announced, cutting him off. "With a coworker named Samantha. Isn't that right, Owen?" Mary's eyes widened, darting between Owen and me. "Oh, dear," she murmured, wringing her hands. "I'm sure there's been some misunderstanding. Owen would never." "There's no misunderstanding," I interrupted by thrusting Owen's phone towards her. "It's all right here in black and white." Mary took the phone hesitantly, her eyes scanning the messages. Her face paled as she read, and I felt a twisted sense of satisfaction watching her perfect image of her son crumble. "Owen," she whispered, looking up at him with disappointment etched across her face. "How could you?" Owen's shoulders slumped in defeat. "I'm sorry," he mumbled, unable to meet either of our gazes. I turned to Mary, my anger finding a new target. "Did you know about this? Did you help him cover it up?" Mary's eyes flashed with indignation. "Of course not. I would never condone such behavior. Owen, I raised you better than this." As they bickered, I felt a strange sense of detachment wash over me. This wasn't how I imagined spending my Thursday evening. I should be curled up on the couch with Owen, planning our weekend getaway. Instead, I was standing in the midst of a family drama I never asked for. "I need some air," I announced, grabbing my keys from the side table. Neither Owen nor Mary seemed to hear me, too engrossed in their argument. I slipped out the door, the cool evening air a welcome relief on my flushed skin. As I walked towards my car, I couldn't help but wonder how I'd missed the signs. How long had this been going on? And more importantly, what was I going to do now? I stared at the glossy brochure in my hands, my stomach churning with a mix of excitement and unease. The penthouse suite on the 40th floor looked breathtaking, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering panoramic views of the city. Owen's enthusiasm was infectious as he pointed out the amenities. "Can you imagine, Em? Our own private terrace, a state-of-the-art gym, and a concierge at our beck and call," he gushed, his eyes sparkling with desire. I nodded, trying to match his excitement. "It's beautiful, Owen, but can we afford it? It seems extravagant." Owen waved his hand dismissively. "Don't worry about that. With your promotion and my new clients, we'll be fine. We deserve this, Em. After everything we've been through, don't you think we should treat ourselves?" The mention of our recent troubles made me wince. It had been 2 months since I discovered Owen's affair, and we were still piecing our marriage back together. Part of me wondered if this lavish condo was his way of making amends. "I don't know." I hesitated. "Maybe we should look at our finances first?" Owen's smile faltered for a moment before he plastered it back on. "Of course, darling. Why don't we go over the numbers tonight?" That evening, I spread our financial documents across the dining table. As I pored over bank statements and credit card bills, a sinking feeling settled in my gut. "Owen," I called out, my voice tight, "can you explain these charges?" He sauntered over, peering at the statement I was pointing to. "Oh, those? Just some business expenses. Don't worry about it." I frowned, noting the frequency and amounts of the charges. Business expenses at high-end restaurants and hotels, and why are they on our personal card? Owen shifted uncomfortably. "It's complicated, Em. Sometimes I need to wine and dine clients. It's part of the job." "And the hotel charges?" I pressed, my suspicion growing. "Late nights, you know how it is," he mumbled, not meeting my eyes. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my temper in check. "Owen, be honest with me. How much debt are we in?" He hesitated before sighing heavily. "It's substantial, but it's temporary, I swear, once these deals come through." "How much?" I interrupted, my voice sharp. Owen mumbled a number that made my blood run cold. It was more than double what I had feared. "How could you let it get this bad?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "I was trying to provide for us, to give you the life you deserve," Owen pleaded. "With your new salary, we can easily manage the payments and afford the new condo." I stared at him, realization dawning. "My salary? You were counting on my money to bail us out?" Owen had the decency to look ashamed. "Not bail us out exactly, but your promotion came at the perfect time. We can start fresh in a new place without all this baggage." "Baggage that you created," I snapped. "And now you expect me to clean up your mess?" "We're a team, aren't we?" Owen asked, reaching for my hand. "What's mine is yours, and what's yours is mine. Isn't that what marriage is about?" I pulled away, anger bubbling up inside me. "Marriage is about trust and honesty, Owen, two things you seem to have forgotten." "Emily, please," he begged. "I know I've made mistakes, but I'm trying to make things right. This new condo could be a fresh start for us." I stood up, gathering the financial documents. A fresh start built on lies and debt? No, thank you. As I turned to leave the room, Owen called out, "Where are you going?" "To call my parents," I replied coldly. "I need some honest advice for a change." I slammed the door to our bedroom, my hands shaking as I dialed my mother's number. As the phone rang, I couldn't help but wonder how I'd been so blind. First the affair, and now this financial disaster. What other secrets was Owen hiding? The sound of my mother's warm, familiar voice answered, "Emily, sweetheart? Is everything okay?" I took a deep breath, tears stinging my eyes. "No, Mom, everything is not okay. I need your help." The incessant ringing of the doorbell jolted me awake. I groaned, glancing at the clock, 7:30 a.m. on a Saturday. Who could it be at this ungodly hour? I stumbled out of bed, wrapping my robe tightly around me. Owen was still fast asleep, oblivious to the noise. As I approached the door, I heard a familiar voice calling out. "Owen, Emily, it's Mom. Open up, dears." My heart sank. Mary. Of course it had to be Mary. I opened the door, plastering on a fake smile. "Good morning, Mary. What a surprise." Mary bustled past me, arms laden with shopping bags. "Oh, Emily, dear, you look dreadful. Are you not sleeping well?" Before I could respond, she was already making her way to the kitchen. "I thought I'd pop by and make you two a proper breakfast. Owen works so hard, he needs a good meal to start his day." I bit back a retort about Owen's hard work and followed her. "That's thoughtful of you, Mary." "But really, you didn't have to." "Nonsense," she interrupted, unpacking groceries. "It's no trouble at all. Now, be a dear and wake Owen, will you?" Reluctantly, I went to rouse my husband. Owen stumbled into the kitchen, looking confused but pleased to see his mother. "Mom, what are you doing here?" Mary beamed at him. "Just taking care of my boy. Sit down. Breakfast will be ready soon." As we ate, Mary chattered away, mostly addressing Owen and occasionally throwing a pointed comment my way. "Emily, dear, don't you think you should cut back on the carbs? That promotion of yours must be quite stressful." I gritted my teeth, forcing a smile. "I'm managing just fine, thank you." Owen, oblivious to the tension, piped up. "Oh, Mom, did I tell you? We're thinking of moving to a new condo." Mary's eyes lit up. "Really? How wonderful. You know, I've been thinking of downsizing myself. Perhaps I could move in with you too? Just temporarily, of course." I nearly choked on my coffee. "What?" Owen looked thoughtful. "That's not a bad idea, actually. What do you think, Em?" I stared at them both, incredulous. I need some air. Excuse me." I fled to the balcony, my mind reeling. How had we gone from financial troubles to potentially living with my mother-in-law in the span of a week? A few minutes later, Owen joined me. "Hey, you okay?" I turned to face him, struggling to keep my voice level. "Owen, we can't afford that new condo, let alone have your mother move in with us." He frowned. "But with your promotion." "My promotion doesn't magically erase our debt," I snapped. "And I'm not using my hard-earned money to finance your mother's retirement." Owen's face hardened. "She's family, Emily. We can't just abandon her." "And what about my family?" I countered. "My parents could use help too, but you don't see me suggesting they move in." "That's different," Owen muttered. How is it different?" Before Owen could respond, Mary's voice floated out from the kitchen. "Everything all right out there, dears?" Owen called back. "Just fine, Mom. Emily and I are just discussing some details." I lowered my voice. "Owen, this has to stop. Your mother can't keep barging into our lives like this." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I know she can be a bit much, but she means well. Can't you try to get along with her? For me?" I stared at him, a realization dawning. "You're always going to take her side, aren't you?" Owen's silence was all the answer I needed. I pushed past him, heading back inside. "Mary," I said, my voice tight with forced politeness, "thank you for breakfast, but Owen and I have some private matters to discuss. Perhaps it's best if you head home now." Mary looked affronted. "Well, I never. Owen, are you going to let her speak to me like that?" Owen stood frozen, caught between his wife and his mother. The tension in the room was palpable. As I watched Owen's conflicted face, a cold certainty settled in my chest. This wasn't just about Mary's visit or the condo anymore. This was about the future of our marriage, and suddenly that future looked very uncertain indeed. I stared at the unfamiliar floral arrangement on our coffee table, my jaw clenched. This was the third time this week I'd come home to find Mary had tidied up our condo. The scent of lavender air freshener assaulted my nostrils, a far cry from the citrus scent I preferred. "Owen?" I called out, my voice tight with frustration. He appeared from the kitchen, a guilty look on his face. "Hey, Em? You're home early? Where's your mother?" I asked, already knowing the answer. Owen shifted uncomfortably. "She just left. She brought over some casseroles for us and thought she'd help out a bit." I took a deep breath, trying to calm my rising anger. "Owen, we talked about this. Your mother can't keep coming over unannounced and rearranging our home." "She's just trying to help, Emily," Owen defended. "You've been so busy with work lately," she thought. "She thought what?" I snapped. "That I can't manage my own home? That I'm not good enough for her precious son?" Owen's face hardened. "That's not fair. Mom's been nothing but kind to you." I laughed bitterly. "Kind? Is that what you call her constant criticism and meddling?" Before Owen could respond, the front door opened, and Mary waltzed in, carrying another bag of groceries. "Oh, Emily dear, you're home!" she exclaimed with false cheer. "I forgot to bring over the organic kale I bought for you. I know how much you love your healthy foods." I bit my tongue, knowing full well I'd mentioned my dislike for kale multiple times. "Thank you, Mary, but that wasn't necessary." Mary waved her hand dismissively. "Nonsense. Someone has to make sure you two are eating properly. Owen works so hard he needs proper nutrition." I felt my temper flare. "And what about my work, Mary? Do you think I just sit around all day?" Mary's smile faltered for a moment. "Well, of course not, dear. But let's be honest, Owen's job is much more demanding. It's only natural that you should pick up the slack at home." I stared at her, incredulous. "Excuse me?" Owen stepped in, sensing the tension. "Mom, maybe now's not the best time." "No, Owen," I interrupted. "I want to hear what your mother has to say. Please, Mary, enlighten me about my responsibilities." Mary's eyes narrowed. "Well, if you must know, I think you could be doing more to support Owen. A good wife puts her husband's needs first. Your career should come second to your family." I felt as if I'd been slapped. "My career is what's keeping this family afloat," I hissed, thinking of the mountain of debt Owen had accrued. "Emily," Owen warned, but I was beyond caring. "Do you have any idea how hard I've worked to get where I am?" I continued, my voice rising. "I am not about to give that up to become some 1950s housewife fantasy," Mary gasped, clutching her pearls. "Owen, are you going to let her speak to me like this?" I turned to Owen, daring him to side with his mother. To my dismay, he remained silent, his eyes darting between us. "You know what?" I said, grabbing my keys. I can't do this right now. I'm leaving. Emily, wait. Owen started, but I was already out the door. I drove aimlessly, tears blurring my vision. How had my life come to this? My once loving husband, now a stranger. My home, no longer my own, and my achievements belittled at every turn. As I pulled into a parking lot to compose myself, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Owen. Mom's staying for dinner. Please come home so we can talk. I stared at the message, a cold realization settling in my chest. This wasn't just about Mary's visit or her hurtful comments. This was about my future, our future. And suddenly I knew I had a decision to make. With shaking hands, I dialed a number I should have called weeks ago. Dad, I said when he answered. I need your advice. I think I might be ready to leave Owen. I smoothed down my dress for the 100th time, nervously glancing at the clock. My parents would be here any minute, and I was determined to make this visit perfect. After weeks of tension with Owen and Mary, I needed the comfort of my family. The doorbell rang, and I rushed to answer it, a genuine smile spreading across my face as I saw my parents. Mom! Dad! I exclaimed, pulling them both into a tight hug. Emily, sweetheart, my mother Ruth said warmly. It's so good to see you. My other John squeezed my shoulder. You look tired, Pumpkin. Everything okay? Before I could respond, Owen appeared behind me. Ruth, John, welcome, he said, his tone polite but cool. As we settled in the living room, I couldn't help but notice Owen's tense posture. He'd been reluctant about this visit from the start, but I'd insisted. I needed my parents here, needed their grounding presence. So tell us about this new condo you're thinking of buying, my father said, trying to break the ice. Owen perked up at this. It's fantastic, John. Top-of-the-line appliances, a view of the city skyline. And way out of our budget, I interjected, unable to keep the bitterness from my voice. An uncomfortable silence fell over the room. My mother, ever the peacemaker, quickly changed the subject. Emily mentioned you've been busy at work, Owen. How's that going? Owen launched into a long-winded explanation of his latest business deals, peppered with jargon I knew my parents wouldn't understand. I watched their faces, seeing the confusion and growing discomfort. Well, my father said when Owen finally paused for breath, sounds complicated. In our line of work, we prefer to keep things simple and honest. Owen's eyes narrowed. And what line of work is that again? Farm management, wasn't it? I tensed, recognizing the condescending tone in Owen's voice. Property management, actually, I corrected. Mom and Dad have built a successful business from the ground up. Right, Owen scoffed, managing pig pens and chicken coops. Very impressive. Owen, I gasped, shocked at his rudeness. My father's face hardened. Now listen here, young man. But Owen was on a roll. No, you listen. I'm tired of pretending that your quaint little country life is somehow equal to what Emily and I have built here. We're in a different league, and it's time you understood that. How dare you? I sputtered, anger rising in my chest. My parents have worked harder than you ever have. Owen turned on me, his eyes flashing. Oh, please. They wouldn't know real work if it bit them on their overalls. And you're not much better, Emily. Always going on about your precious career, as if pushing papers around is somehow more important than what I do. The room fell silent, the weight of Owen's words hanging heavy in the air. I looked at my parents, seeing the hurt and anger in their eyes, and something inside me snapped. Get out, I said, my voice low and dangerous. Owen blinked, taken aback. What? I said. Get out, I shouted, standing up. Get out of this house, and don't you dare come back until you're ready to apologize to my parents and to me. Owen stared at me in disbelief before storming out, slamming the door behind him. As the echo of the slam faded, I collapsed onto the couch, tears streaming down my face. My parents rushed to my side, enveloping me in a comforting embrace. Oh, sweetie, my mother murmured, stroking my hair. I'm so sorry. Through my tears, I looked up at them. I can't do this anymore, I whispered. I think my marriage is over. My father nodded solemnly. Whatever you decide, we're here for you, Pumpkin, always. As I sat there, surrounded by the unconditional love of my parents, I felt a strange mix of sorrow and relief. The life I had built with Owen was crumbling around me, but for the first time in months, I felt like I could breathe again. I took a deep breath, wiping away my tears. I need to leave him, I said, the words feeling both terrifying and liberating. Will you help me? My parents exchanged a look before turning back to me with determined expressions. "Of course," they said in unison. "We're family. We'll get through this together." In that moment, I knew my life was about to change dramatically. But with my parents by my side, I felt ready to face whatever came next. My hands shook as I zipped up the last suitcase. The bedroom, once a sanctuary, now felt suffocating. Owen's pleading voice echoed from the living room, but I steeled myself against it. There was no going back now. "Emily, please," Owen begged as I wheeled my luggage out. "We can work this out. I'll do better, I promise." I turned to face him, my resolve firm. "No, Owen, we're past that point. Your behavior, your lies, your disrespect for my family, it's too much. I'm leaving." His face contorted with anger. "You can't just walk out on our marriage. What about everything we've built together?" I laughed bitterly. "Built together? You mean the mountain of debt you've hidden from me? The life you've constructed on lies and manipulation?" Owen's eyes widened. "How did you?" "I hired a financial investigator," I cut him off. "I know everything, Owen. The gambling debts, the secret credit cards, even the money you've been funneling to your mother." He paled, stumbling back. "Emily, I can explain." "Save it," I snapped. "I'm done with your explanations and excuses. I've already spoken to a lawyer. You'll be hearing from them soon." As if on cue, there was a knock at the door. I opened it to find my parents standing there, concern etched on their faces. "Ready to go, sweetheart?" my father asked, eyeing Owen warily. I nodded, grateful for their support. As my father began loading my bags into their car, Owen made one last desperate attempt. "Ruth, John," he pleaded, "surely you can see this is just a misunderstanding. Help me talk some sense into Emily." My mother's eyes flashed with anger. "The only misunderstanding here is that we ever thought you were good enough for our daughter." Just then the elevator dinged and Mary stepped out. Her eyes widened as she took in the scene. "What's going on here? Owen, why are there suitcases?" "Your son's marriage is over, Mary," I said coldly. "I suggest you start looking for a new place to meddle." Mary's face reddened. "How dare you? Owen, are you going to let her speak to me like that?" Owen looked torn, his gaze darting between his mother and me. In that moment, I saw our entire marriage laid bare, his inability to stand up to his mother, his constant need for validation, his disregard for my feelings and aspirations. "You know what?" I said, a sudden calm washing over me. "You two deserve each other. Enjoy your codependent, financially ruinous life together." As I turned to leave, Owen grabbed my arm. "Emily, wait! You can't just throw away 5 years of marriage." I wrenched my arm free. "Watch me." With that, I walked out of the condo, my parents flanking me protectively. As we rode the elevator down, I felt a mix of emotions, relief, sadness, and a twinge of fear for the unknown future ahead. In the parking garage, as my father loaded the last of my bags, I heard rapid footsteps. Owen came running up, out of breath and desperate. "Emily, please," he gasped. "I'll do anything. Why? I'll go to counseling. I'll cut ties with my mother. Anything you want." For a brief moment, I hesitated. 5 years of memories flashed through my mind, the good times, the laughter, the dreams we'd shared. But then I remembered the lies, the betrayal, the constant belittling of my achievements. I took a deep breath and looked Owen in the eye. "It's too late, Owen. I deserve better, and I'm going to find it, without you." As we drove away, I watched Owen's figure grow smaller in the rearview mirror. Tears streamed down my face, but I felt a strange sense of lightness. The road ahead was uncertain, but for the first time in years, it was mine to choose. "You okay, Pumpkin?" my father asked gently. I wiped my eyes and managed a small smile. "No," I admitted, "but I will be." As we turned onto the highway, leaving behind the life I'd known, I realized this wasn't just an ending. It was a beginning, my beginning. And despite the pain and uncertainty, I was ready to embrace it. I sat at my parents' kitchen table, clutching a mug of tea as if it were a lifeline. The familiar sense of home surrounded me, but they did little to calm the storm raging inside. "Emily, sweetheart," my mother said gently, placing a hand on my arm. "You need to eat something." I shook my head, my throat tight. "I can't, Mom. I can't believe this is happening." My father cleared his throat, his weathered face creased with concern. "Pumpkin, we need to talk about what comes next, the divorce proceedings, your living situation." At the word divorce, I felt a fresh wave of pain wash over me. How did I let it get this far, Dad? How did I not see what Owen was really like? Love can blind us, my mother said softly, but you're seeing clearly now, and that's what matters. Just then my phone buzzed. Another text from Owen. I'd been ignoring them for days, but curiosity got the better of me. I unlocked the screen and gasped. What is it? My father asked, alarmed. Owen, I choked out. He's threatening to contest the divorce. Says he'll drag my name through the mud, claim I abandoned him. My parents exchanged a look I couldn't quite decipher. My mother took a deep breath. Emily, there's something we need to tell you, something that might help. I looked up, confused. What do you mean? My father leaned forward, his voice low and serious. We're not just small-town property managers, sweetheart. Our company, it's much bigger than that. My mind reeled. What are you talking about? We own and manage properties all over the state, my mother explained, including the condo complex where you and Owen have been living. I stared at them, stunned. You're our landlords? My father nodded. We kept it quiet because we wanted you to make your own way. But now, with everything that's happened, we can help, my mother finished. Owen hasn't been paying rent for months. We have grounds to evict him. I felt like the room was spinning. Why didn't you tell me this before? We wanted to protect you, my father said, but now we see that keeping secrets, even with good intentions, only causes pain. As the reality of their revelation sank in, I felt a mix of emotions, shock, betrayal, but also a glimmer of hope. So you're saying we have leverage? They nodded in unison. More than that, my mother added. We have the truth on our side. Just then my phone rang. Owen's name flashed on the screen. With trembling hands, I answered and put it on speaker. Emily, Owen's voice crackled through. I'm giving you one last chance. Come home, or I swear I'll make your life hell. I'll tell everyone how you abandoned me, how you... That's enough, Owen. My father's voice boomed, cutting him off. This is John. You might want to rethink your strategy, son. There was a moment of stunned silence. Mr. Johnson? What are you? We know everything, Owen, my mother chimed in. The unpaid rent, the financial mismanagement, it's over. I took a deep breath, finding strength in my parents' support. Owen, listen carefully. You have 24 hours to vacate the condo. If you contest this divorce or try to smear my name, we'll take legal action. Do you understand? The line went silent for a long moment. Then, in a defeated voice, Owen muttered, I understand. As I ended the call, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, but it was quickly replaced by a new burden, the realization that my life was about to change dramatically once again. What now? I asked. Looking at my parents, my father squeezed my hand. Now we fight, together. As I sat there, surrounded by the love and strength of my family, I realized that this wasn't just about ending my marriage. It was about reclaiming my life, my dignity, and my future. And for the first time in months, I felt ready to face whatever came next. Okay, I said, straightening my shoulders. Let's do this. I stood outside the condo, my heart pounding. My parents flanked me, their presence a comforting shield against the storm I knew was coming. With a deep breath, I knocked on the door. Owen answered, his face a mask of desperation. Emily, thank God you're here. I knew you'd come back. Save it, Owen. I cut him off, pushing past him into the condo. My eyes widened as I took in the state of our once pristine home. Takeout containers littered every surface, and the air reeked of stale alcohol. Mary emerged from the kitchen, her eyes narrowing at the sight of us. What are they doing here? She hissed at Owen. My father stepped forward, his voice firm. We're here to settle this once and for all, Mary. As the owners of this property, we're serving you with an eviction notice. Owen's jaw dropped. Owners? What are you talking about? I couldn't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction as I watched the realization dawn on their faces. That's right, I said. My parents own this entire complex, and you haven't paid rent in months. Mary's face contorted with rage. You can't do this to us. We'll fight this. With what money? My mother asked calmly. We've seen your financials, Owen. You're broke. Owen collapsed onto the couch, his head in his hands. I didn't mean for it to get this bad. I thought I could fix it. For a moment I felt a flicker of pity. But then I remembered all the lies, the manipulation, the years of belittling my achievements. My resolve hardened. You have 48 hours to vacate the premises, I said, my voice steady. After that, we'll be forced to take legal action. Mary lunged forward, her eyes wild. You ungrateful little. My father stepped between us. his presence imposing. "That's enough, Mary. It's over." As Mary retreated, muttering under her breath, Owen looked up at me, his eyes pleading. "Emily, please. I know I messed up, but I love you. We can start over, make things right." I felt a lump form in my throat, memories of our happier times flashing through my mind, but I pushed them aside, focusing on the truth I now knew. "No, Owen," I said softly. "We can't. You never loved me for who I am. You loved the idea of me, the status I brought you. It's time for both of us to face reality." I turned to leave, but Owen's desperate voice stopped me. "What am I supposed to do now? Where will we go?" I looked back at him, seeing for the first time how small and pathetic he truly was. "That's not my problem anymore, Owen. You're an adult. Figure it out." As we walked out of the condo, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The cool air hit my face, and I took a deep breath, savoring the taste of freedom. My mother squeezed my hand. "You did it, sweetheart. It's over." I nodded, tears pricking at my eyes. "I just can't believe I let it go on for so long. I feel so stupid." "Hey now," my father said, pulling me into a hug. "You're one of the smartest, strongest women I know. You recognize the truth and you fought for yourself. That's something to be proud of." As we drove away from the condo complex, I watched my old life disappear in the rearview mirror. A mix of emotions swirled within me: relief, sadness, and a growing sense of excitement for the future. "So," I said, turning to my parents, "tell me more about this property management business of yours." They exchanged a smile before my mother replied, "Well, we could always use someone with your skills if you're interested." I felt a grin spread across my face. "You know what? I think I am." As we drove towards my parents' home, my temporary home until I got back on my feet, I realized that this ending was really a new beginning. I had lost a husband, but I had gained something far more valuable: self-respect, a deeper connection with my family, and a future full of possibilities. The road ahead might be uncertain, but for the first time in years, I was excited to see where it would lead. Because this time, I was in the driver's seat of my own life, and that was worth more than any luxury condo or false promise of love ever could be.